Ladies and gentlemen, the 5.7 special live stream has finished. And I just got to say that we have actually some really good stuff coming in Genshin Impact 5.7. However, I'm not going to sit here and like glaze the crap out of it, right? There's some stuff that should have been here from the get-go, in my personal opinion. However, I will say that as a live stream, it was actually good. There was a lot of stuff that we really are getting that, seemed like it's going to be fun. This is going to be a lore patch, which is pretty neat. It's not going to be just filler, it's lore filler, which I want people to understand the difference. Like, filler is just, One Piece side quest stuff, and then lore filler pertains to the story, but also isn't something that's, it's to the main arc, but not entirely to the main arc. You get my point? Like, it's going into the past and diving deeper into the siblings' story. Now, I want to be clear, again, that I'm not going to be glazing the crap out of this, but I will be giving my own 2 cents in regards to everything. But before we get into that, we have a couple things to address. Like, comment, subscribe. Obviously, hit that notification bell to be notified of when the next Genshin Impact video comes out. And of course, don't forget to check out GamerSubs. Use code TASHA for 10% off. There is also something that's been bothering me for a while. I need to make a switch really quick, so give me just 5 seconds. Now that is much better. Now, let's go ahead and dive into what we know about Genshin Impact's 5.7 special live stream, right? We got some good stuff from here, so I want to kind of go over just a little bit. So first off, we know that Skirk is coming. And we know that Skirk is going to heavily rely on freeze teams, which was the rumor going around. And yeah, I don't know how to feel about that. I just kind of am upset because I had to basically summon Forest Coffee, which I did. But it just basically confirmed my suspicions when it came to Skirk. I was wanting more from the Skirk release. Originally, I wanted a new element just because it would have been funny. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. I am glad that Cryo is getting a little bit of a boost, but I also am scared as to if it's going to be a significant boost, if that makes sense. And then, of course, we're getting a rerun of Shinho, which I was actually very surprised about. Shinho Wanters will be happy with that. However, this is technically the second rerun now since the Chronicle Wish banner. But I digress. Still very happy for people who wanted Shinho. And then Dahlia was kind of the most surprising one. Dahlia's kit is really good, but the animations and the character are just boring as hell to me. I'm sorry for all the Dahlia lovers out there. I just find Dahlia incredibly boring. But the kit is going to be really good. Consistent shields, boost of attack speed. Yeah, he's going to be a really good cryo slash water team, obviously a frozen team. But I am very excited for his kit, but again, I still think that he's rather boring. I feel like Genshin's formula is consistent with Phase 2 banners being really good. Having Malvika and, of course, Emily on the Phase 2 banners is absolutely insane. Because Emily is a really good Dendro, like, unit. And I think a lot of people sleep on her. I'd sleep on her. But Malvika, obviously, is the Pyro Archon. Very good unit in general. Always good to have her on your team. So having these two and work on a burn team is pretty neat. I'm not saying obviously this is the best team, but both of these units are very good. So we'll say that that was a fantastic choice. We got to see the look at Skirk, which was pretty cool. Her animations are all right. They're pretty cool in Genshin standards. But when it comes to the overall gacha-verse, Skirk's animations leave a lot to be desired. Obviously, we have Cardathea releasing as well next week. Well, we have Cardathea releasing this week, and then we have Skirk next week. So Cardathea's animations just blow Skirk's out of the water. No offense, Hoyoverse, it's just what it is. But Skirk is a highly anticipated unit, so I expect this unit to push Genshin back up at the top of the revenue reports, even though revenue reports are kind of ass. And then, of course, we got Dahlia. Dahlia, like I said, the kid is boring. And honestly, like, you can look at the difference of, like, the screenshots and all that stuff. Like, right here, we have Skirk, and then we got Dahlia. Like, Dahlia just reminds me of when we first started Genshin, and we just saw the 4 stars, and we're like, oh, okay, that's a 4-star right there. And Dahlia is, but at the same time, you could make me, like, want to summon for Dahlia off the animations and stuff. And then, of course, we got the new weapon that's coming out for Skirk. It looks really dope. Our conquest, we're going to see Dainsley fight with us. And I think that is a lot of information in regards to who is going to be coming in the next updates. I'm not saying that Dainsleep is going to be the next character that comes out outside of Skirk, but I will say that Dainsleep being playable is a lot more of a happening thing than not. So that's at least my take when it comes to Dainsleep being playable. Obviously, we got the new Skirk companion story, which is whatever to me. Like, cool. I'm happy for it. But a bunch of the events are what I'm looking at. We're going to get a free set those from this event, which is a team fight tactics event. A lot of people are like, oh, they copied Wuwa, but honestly, they would have had to have been at least in ready to go to make this event. However, I do think the release is a little bit coincidental because of that. We do have this little heart game with Paimon that you can just like roll around. You have to connect these little lines. It's little kitty happy games, so that's whatever. However, we do have new in-game in Stingy and Onslaught, and I have a lot of stuff to talk about, at least when it comes to this, right? So there's 5 stages initially with a 6th stage that you could get afterwards. So basically, you're going to be fighting level 110 enemies in this regard. You're going to pick 4 characters to go with you for your party setup. I believe you could also use trial characters as well, and I believe this also is co-opable up until stage 5. So you could play stage 5, and then at stage 6 you can't really do co-op. I could be wrong on that from what I was trying to like read from, but yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff with this. I love the fact that we are getting in game, but you could actually choose which artifacts you get from it. So I think that's cool. If Spiral Abyss would do that, I think a lot of people wouldn't bitch about the rewards of Spiral Abyss too much. But I think that's really cool in general. Not only that, but apparently you get this new reward, which we'll talk about a little bit more later, that can re-roll your artifacts. And I think that is a good idea to put that new currency to get people to play that. Obviously, from a business standpoint, it makes sense to do that. However, I do have a little bit of issues, obviously, with the limited amount of those resources. But overall, Stingy and Onslaught looks really good. It's a good end game to put onto Genshin Impact. I think a lot of people will actually enjoy this one with the amount of support it seems to give you. So there's that. We got the Fearsome Ferocious Firepower, which is just the turret gameplay, which adds new elements to it in the sense of like what you could do. So there's that. Reminiscence Regiment Frenzy, which is just the it's another it's another combat event. But it's like you have the circle, you have to get these certain abilities, whatever. Like I honestly, to me, this one was just kind of a sleeper. I want the combat to be better, but I don't know if this is it. I didn't really care for this event in general. We got Traveler's Tales Gilded Chapter as well being added for a lot of the Fontaine, or some of the Inazuma and Sumeru characters. So we got previews with Toma, Dori, Nouvelette. We know that Kirara, I don't know why, Kirara is in here, and then of course Sino as well. So there's that. Overflowing Abundance, we already know. Which also I don't think it's this that added it, but overall in this patch we're gonna be able to claim rewards up to 3 times for a lot of this stuff. I hope it's for artifacts as well. I can't remember. But I do know that with this and talent books and ascension materials, you can get triple up just from fragile resin, which is pretty cool. So I'm pretty stoked on that. I think that's a good thing. We got Envisaged Echoes for the little storybook endgame thing. So these look cool. This one for Shinha has little red accents, and then Raiden Shogun has the not cherry blossom, but as her own thing, which is pretty neat. Gene justification, don't care. System optimizations we saw in the Genshin Impact dev notes, so nothing too crazy about that. This was the other thing I was talking about with the Stingy and Onslaught. This new Dust of Enlightenment. Now, what it does is that if you roll and it doesn't give you exactly what you were wanting, you could use one of these to re-roll your artifact. Now, if you're free to play, for the most part, I believe it's like 3 or 4 that you're getting because you can get it from the first stage of the battle pass. But if you don't go just free to play and you buy the battle pass, you get 5 per patch. Now, I don't like the fact that it's so it's stingy. It's from the stingy and onslaught, so it makes a lot of sense. So I feel like it's very stingy because it's like, bro, this is not a PvP game. Why are we so restrictive on our artifacts and stuff to help get your better artifacts? I don't understand that. Especially again for a non-PvP game. I get that you want people to keep playing, but people are playing regardless. So I don't get that to me. But it is good in the sense of like being able to have those for the most part free to play. They're also going to give us 2 extras upon login for 5.7. So cool. I dig that. However, I just wish that it could have been a little bit better, just in my opinion. But you do get to pick your 2 minor affixes that can actually do that has a better potential of getting into those slots. So your crit rate, crit damage pieces are going to do a little bit better. Mobile is getting reduced file size. You could choose what resources you want, so there's that. The fragile resin claim rewards thing I was telling you about. So instead of just doing 20 resin or the 40 resin for the condensed resin, you could actually just straight up use fragile resin to get 3 rolls. I don't think it is for artifacts the more I think about it, but you know, we'll figure that out later. Guide entries for bosses is whatever. Spiral Abyss optimization we already knew. Again, like we talked about, getting your rewards right there and then without having to like go into the menu for Spiral Abyss is something that I thought should have happened a long time ago. Then, of course, we got the nod-krai trailer as well, which is normal for like a 0.7 update, right? We got to see a bunch of characters. We got to see Dottore right there. We got this elf character who I want to know who that is. We got Varka and we got Alice as well. So I think we got a preview of who the playable characters are going into nod-krai. So I'm pretty stoked on that. I think overall, the 5.7 live stream was good. I put it as a 7.5 because I think that a 7.5 is decent. It's better than mid, but it's definitely not something that I'm going to be touting about going, oh my god, this is the best patch ever. There's stuff that I agree with, stuff that I don't agree with, and in events that I just was like, they're nothing burgers. But overall, I think that the patch itself will be good, especially with the lore drop. I'm hoping that's the case. Because again, we could just be blindsided by a horrible patch. I'm hoping that's not the case because again, I want to be more positive about Genshin. I'm trying to be nicer, but at the end of the day, it all boils down to, is this patch a benefit to the community? And I would say, yeah, it's a benefit. Being able to have artifact re-rolling, custom loadouts now finally, where you could save loadouts and, you know, pre-save whatever sets you want to do. Stuff like that, I think is really good, but should have been added a long time ago. Would change probably my outlook on Genshin Impact overall. But that's going to be it for today. Like, comment, subscribe, all that wonderful stuff. Don't forget to hit that notification bell and let me know in the comments what you think about 5.7. Is this a nothing burger patch, or are you very excited for the stuff that's to come? Are you excited for nod-krai like me? Because Alice, I've been saying that I want to be Klee's stepdad. Alice, we could make that happen. Baby girl. No. But I digress. All jokes aside, 5.7 to me looks like a very good patch overall. So anyways, y'all, that's going to be it. Love you guys to death. And as always, we will catch you in that next video. Please take care and be safe.